Hey guys, welcome back to another video. If you've ever owned a Mac, chances are you've probably seen this before. This is iPhoto, and that's two things I imported from the last video. As you can see, it's actually, sure it's got the Yosemite bar and everything, but it's not very well optimized for Yosemite. So, as you can see, it looks a lot more like a Mavericks application. When Apple first released OSX Yosemite, they announced a thing called the Photos app, but they did also announce it wasn't going to be released till early this year. And well, here it is. This is not it here, but it's around now. And I'm going to show it to you. So we're going to open up the Photos app, which appears 2 rows exactly below iPhoto in my applications dialog box thing, funnily enough. And as you can see, I have to blur that out. As you can see, it's a lot better optimized for OSX, so it looks just a hell of a lot better. So this would be my review of the Photos app. Okay, to prevent showing off too many personal photos, I've opened up this photo, which was a picture of when it was kind of flooded across like a river, kind of lakey area, and took a photo of it on my phone. So you might notice we've got a couple of buttons here. You got the favorite button, you got some info button, you can get info on it. It was taken, that's its name, I suppose. That's what it was taken on. That's its size, and that's where it was taken. Kind of in the middle of nowhere. But anyway. So if we click there's also a plus button, so you can add it to an album, a smart album, not quite sure what that is, a book, calendar, card, slideshow, or print. You can print it. It's the export button. You can set it as a desktop picture, send it to social media, airdrop it, message it, mail it, and photo sharing. Then there's this edit button. And as you can see, when you open the edit button, you kind of get like an iPhone-ish like editing thing kind of experience. So if we enhance that, you can see it kind of just makes the colours a bit more vibrant. But there's also this kind of filters thing, and it's got these kind of set filters that you can put into it as a way of, well, changing the look of the photo, of course. As you can see, so there's just, it kind of applies different tones, but you can actually just do this yourself with the adjustments. So as you can see here, we've got the light, which we can set to auto, which automatically increases the light to its best kind of thing. There's also color. So like, well, we could just drag this really, so we could make it a bit darker, a bit lighter if we wanted to. We could kind of do anything really. We're just going to set that back to original, and then what we're going to do is we're going to have a look at the color here. Have a look at the color. You can kind of bring it down, bring it up, but if you have a look, you can actually get a bit more advanced. So if you click this little down arrow, you can see we can now individually change the saturation, the contrast, and the cast. You can see by raising this, it increases the saturation and the contrast, but leaves the cast. And of course, that just kind of decreases the saturation. But we can change the cast if we wished, which either makes it a cold kind of photo or a warm kind of photo, warm being more warm colours, cold being colder colours, of course. And then we can manually change the contrast, make it, different. And there's also the saturation, which is kind of good if you really want to make a photo stick out. You really stick up the saturation. Of course, you can always, and once you've set those values yourself, you can actually adjust it here, which will change the contrast along with it. So as you can see now, that's the minimum colour, and that's the maximum colour with the set. But if we revert that, we can get this a lot more dull. And as you can see here, that's as vibrant as it's going to get. Well, we can just put up the saturation even more, and it's going to get even more vibrant. You can put up the contrast as well. There you go, you've got a really, really, really green grass. Further back, and then we've got black and white, which kind of just alters. You can make it a black and white kind of photo, but it alters the different tones. I'm assuming we'll have a look when we revert this. You click the down arrow, You can have the intensity, the neutrals, which kind of changes out the rest. We can have that nice and black. The tone, you can put the tone up, just kind of there, I suppose. And the grain, assuming the grain's actually not doing much. It's doing something, but it's not doing much. Anyway, so yeah, there's that, and of course, if I actually didn't have a look at the light adjustments, but you can see we can increase the exposure, decrease the exposure, the highlights, really bring out the clouds like that, increase the shadows, decrease the shadows, we can increase the brightness, another contrast slider, which is interesting. They've got two contrast sliders, except this one has a bit more of an effect. As you can see, that kind of really brings out the clouds and the ground, and that kind of really brings out just the ground. There's the black point, which I'm assuming just changes pretty much the same thing as the contrast did. So that can just change the lighting. Of course, you can change multiple of these at once. So I could go like putting that like that, and putting the color all the way up. You get a really bright, really colorful photo. It looks like the sun is really high at the time. Or you could do whatever you want. You could raise all of these to the maximum values, which would make an interesting photo. As you can see, yeah, you can make some really... Actually, what I've done there is I've made it look really cartoony. I've made a cartoon photo. That's interesting. Just raise all of these two and you make a cartoon photo. Keep that in mind next time you're drawing a cartoon photo. But of course, we can also just set this to automatic, which raises that, does a bit of that. Set this to automatic as well, which does a bit more of that. I don't know what automatic on black and white would do. Set it to the best black and white color setting possible. Just turn that off. Okay. Off. So yeah, that's kind of the individual filters. There's a retoucher, which I'm assuming you can kind of blur things. I think that's what this is doing. It looks like it's blurring things. It looks like you can also increase the size to choose the source area. Oh yeah, okay. So it is kind of like a blurry outer thing that you can use to remove spots, I suppose, or to blur photos. You can also use it for that. If we just do this, we've got a completely blurred lower photo. We can move that bird over there, kind of blur things out. It says option click to select source. Okay, so I can select the source to be green, and then I can paint up here, which will just paint the trees. Oh, that's kind of cool. That's kind of like some of those Photoshop editing tools. Oh, let's reset this. Oh, that was actually really cool. So if I set this to the ground, and I can paint the ground in the air. Okay, I selected a bad spot, so it's going to be pretty hard to paint the ground in the air. But as you can see there's ground in the air. So if I actually option click here, we can paint more ground in the air. And as you can probably see now, there's like a direct replica of that up here, and you can kind of just put the trees. And yeah, this is kind of a neat tool actually. I've never really seen anything like it. We can make the whole thing road. Let's try that. You can blur out cars and stuff, and just put the road on top of it. That's neat. So yeah, that's the retoucher, as it's called. We'll just, yeah, it's been recent everything. That's the adjustments, it's the filters. We wrote a nice little croppy, rotatey thing, so we can just kind of crop the image. Let's say we just wanted that kind of white thing out in the distance. We could crop it to that, and then we could actually use this rotatey bar. Whoa, that's blurry. We could use this rotatey bar to rotate the crop. Get a 45-degree angle. Come around over here, get another 45-degree angle. So it's kind of interesting. There's also an aspect. We see we can get some interesting aspects. Here you can kind of change it to 16:9 photo, 8:10, 5:7. Some other aspects you can change it to a square, I suppose. You can, of course, rotate all of this. Looks like it doesn't want to rotate past a 45-degree angle. I'll have a look at that. It's an auto crop. I don't know how that would work. Oh, what did it do? Reset it. Oh, it zoomed in and did a bit of rotation. It looks exactly the same if you ask me, except it's just removed the car. Interesting, interesting. So that's that. What's this here? This is the rotator, which just plain rotates it. As you can see, it's just plain rotating it. The enhance, which obviously kind of adjusts values to make the photo look a bit better. And that's the editing tools, and of course you can actually make the photo very zoomed in. Yep. And you can favorite it, you can get some more info. You can see where it came from the photo stream. You can add faces. I'll actually be doing a tutorial, I'll actually be doing a tutorial on how to do faces in photos, because it's quite different to how you used to do faces in iPhoto. But that's all for this video. Hope you enjoyed, thanks for watching, and I'll see you again in the next video. Goodbye.